Alors the question first, when we decided to start, was do we start from the top or do we start from the shop floor? And this is a key question when you want to change things in an organization. And the decision that we took was to start from the floor. With an advantage is experimenting with the floor. We will be able to see what was working, what was not working, and to capitalize on it.
The problem is that very quickly we realized that people in the headquarters, as distinguished as they might be, for sure, were absolutely unable to imagine how the system could work, a responsibilized or an empowered system would work on the field. You may have spent hours observing workers working on the machines, etc. That doesn't mean that you will be able to imagine how they would work, interact with each other in such a system. So after a while, we decided to turn towards those who do on the field. And we turned 38 fabrication cells in several factories, several trades, several specialties to cover all the spectrum of our abilities. And we turned those 38 basic cells into some kind of laboratory. And that was, we called this laboratories of autonomy. And as we were trying to identify the optimal level of autonomy that those teams could reach, we want them to find out solutions, to implement them, to try them, and to test them, and to assess their efficiency. So we called those teams demonstrators because we wanted them to demonstrate the right level of autonomy we are trying to reach. And this big experiment, 1,500 people at the same time, lasted 1 year, and we wanted it to last 1 year, which was one budget year. So we didn't change anything to their business contexts. And we wanted them to show us what they could do. And the questions they had to answer during this year was very simple. From your viewpoint, what could you decide by yourselves without asking the permission to your manager, and which proportion of all the fabrication incidents you face every day could you cope with by yourselves without depending on technical services in the factory? So it was real autonomy. And the goal was not to make a collection of so-called best practices. We were not interested at all in best practices, but we really wanted to calibrate the degree of autonomy that was reachable at this level. The result at the end of this year was absolutely amazing. No failure, passionate people, sometimes great emotion, by the way. It was surprising. And it was very convincing. We called those laboratories demonstrators and not pilots. And the difference, and in industry, generally speaking, you make pilots, not demonstrators. That's a new word, at least at Michelin. What's a pilot? So we call this demonstrators and not pilots because here lies the great difference in terms of the method. Generally speaking, in industry, we make pilots. That's to say, you have distinguished brains in the headquarters who design a solution, and we designate some units and we tell them, here is what you have to test, please test it, and if it's okay, we will make a general use of the solution. That's a pilot. Well, clearly, it's not what we wanted. We wanted to have something. We wanted to get rid of our intellectual conditioning, and that's the reason why we not only asked basic cells of workers to make use of their brains, but at the same time, or a little bit prior to this, we visited each of the management teams of the sites in which we had those experiments, and we told them very solemnly and very firmly, please don't touch it. Please don't intervene. Please don't gather the direction team of the plant to imagine a solution and to tell our demonstrators, you could test this and that, and forbidden, strictly forbidden. The only thing you are allowed to do is to periodically visit them, encourage them, ask them, what are you doing now? Not to tell them, stop doing so, but to tell them, we think that you could be more ambitious and creative. Point. For the rest, we were 2 people in Clermont-Ferrand, which is the capital city of Michelin. We were 2 people, and we were in direct relationship with all 38 teams, and we answered their questions, etc., but we didn't direct them at all. Well, make a difference between responsibilization. I'm not even sure that the word exists in English, but on one side, you have responsibilization, which is a process. And at the end of the process, you get responsibility. So responsibilization is the process through which you go to change the level of responsibility of someone or a group of people. So the interesting thing is the definition of responsibility. And to me, you are responsible when you have in the right balance 2 things. The first thing is an acting power, a capacity of action on the one hand, and on the other hand, you have a moral obligation to give an account for everything you achieve, given this capacity of action. So from this capacity of action, you get some freedom of action, and you have to give an account on what you achieve according to this freedom. And you need to have the right balance between both factors, because if you have too much freedom of action compared with what you have to report on, you make someone who is not responsible at all. I can do what I want. I have no account to give to anybody. But if, on the contrary, you give too much obligation to give an account on things you have no lever on, you make guilty people, which is awful. So responsibility is the right balance between both factors. And it took us approximately 3 years to develop things, to assess the degrees of autonomy that were reachable in the different types of organizations. And combining all those experiences to design what we at the end called Michelin Responsibilization model. Well, and we turned it into a global model, which is not a list of best practices to be shared and implemented, but which is a short set of principles and points of reference, and we tell people, if we see this, this, and that, we are happy, whatever the path you take to achieve it, and whatever the way it works when you are in cruise speed. Yeah.
Beyond this, what was also very moving for me was to see the evolution of the managers. When you are a manager in a very structured organization, what you will be at one point of time is a person doing reporting, going from one place to the other place to see if the numbers are right or no. When you are leading this type of sales, you are really serving your team. And when you do this, you get the feeling that you change also the life of the people. You are outside on the weekend, you are meeting with the family, you are seeing the smiles over there. This is why you are a manager. And for me, this is a question of pride. I am a manager and I'm proud to be the managers because I see my people developing and thriving. When you are in my position, when you are in a position of a manager, having this type of opportunity, this is a lifetime opportunity. And this is the reason why we were able to embark a lot of people, because at the end of the day, they had something in their life and they were diffusing development of people with the most important things when you are a manager. Now, what is the impact of this more autonomy for the organization at the end of the day? Today, I will give you the elements at the level of the industry, because this is the one that we developed more. But before I give you this element, important to say to you that Michelin is built on two legs. From one side, we have what we call the business models or the operating model. And from the other side, we have what we call a human and social model. And when we see the impact and when we measure the impact of this initiative, that is more an initiative, this is a project of life, we said, let's measure the business result. And what we were able to show is that at the level of a plant, we were improving reactivity, we were improving the performance result. All of this was for one part of our models. From the other part, human and social, we measured it through the engagement of the people. And in the 38 sales, production sales that were our experiments at that time, we saw in average a gain in 10% of engagement at this time. We had a lot of industrial people very skeptical about this because they were very nervous to lose the management system that we had implemented just a few years ago. And what happened, and it was also something that was very rewarding for us, is when you give autonomy to people, then they will not say, we are free, we will do whatever we can do. They will say, we are professional. If we have a tool that helps us to be more professional and more performing in the future, we will keep it, we will adjust it, we will make some tweaks. It's what they did. But at the end of the day, we have got the result and we kept the framework that made this organization very professional today in the world.